Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Kutaye Namaha. Welcome to all for this session on Ramayana to chapter 59 of Yuddha Kanda. In the previous chapters, we saw Prahasta being slain by Nila. Before that, it was Dhumraksha and Akampana who were killed by Hanuman, and Vajradamshra, who was killed by Angada. And like this, one by one, as every generals related to Ravana who were working under the command of Ravana, as they perished, Ravana himself got distracted and himself got into a despair, and he decided to enter into the warfield on his own. Their general, having succumbed in the fight against the foremost of the monkeys, the heavily armed forces of the king of Titans took to flight with the speed of tide. Coming before their lord, they apprised him of the death of their leader Prahasta, who had fallen under the blows of the fire god's offspring, Nila, the Vanara warrior. Amid these tidings, the king was transported with anger. Learning that Prahasta had perished in the fight, there his heart was filled with grief, and he addressed the foremost of his leaders as Indra, those who never grow old, and said, "That enemy is not to be despised under whose blows the destroyer of Indra's host, the leader of my army with his followers and elephants fell. I myself shall enter this strange battlefield without hesitation in order to obtain victory and destroy the enemy. As a forest is consumed by fire, so shall I today with a myriad arrows burn up the Simeon army with Rama and Lakshmana." Speaking thus, that enemy of the Lord of the Celestials ascended his chariot, which shone like a flame and was yoked to a team of horses, its brilliance increased by the splendor of his person. The sound of trumpets, gongs, drums, and leonine roars, accompanied by the clapping of hands, acclamations, and hymns of praise, frenziedly greeted the departure of the sovereign of the Titans. Those eaters of flesh, resembling mountains or clouds, whose glances flashed like torches, surrounded the supreme leader of the Titans as he marched out, like unto the Bhutas escorting Rudra, the lord of the immortals. Issuing from the city, that monarch observed the army of ferocious monkeys with trees and rocks in their hands, ready for combat, roaring like a vast ocean or a mass of thunder clouds. Seeing the demon divisions seething with fury, incomparably illustrious Rama, whose arms resembled great serpents, accompanied by his forces, said to Vibhishana, who is in command of this army, furnished with every kind of standard, banner, and canopy, armed with javelins, swords, stakes, and other weapons and missiles, it is indomitable and composed of intrepid soldiers and elephants as high as the Mahendra mountain. Thus interrogated, Vibhishana, the equal of Shakra in valor, pointed out the principal leaders of those courageous lions among the Titans to him, and said, "That hero of coppery hue, mounted on the back of an elephant, causing its head to sway, the rival of the rising sun, know, O prince, to be Kampana. Probably he must be another Akampana, as one Akampana is already slain by Hanumanta. He who, standing in his chariot, brandishes his bow, which resembles Shakras, whose standard bears the image of a lion, and who is like unto an elephant with its long curved tusks, is Indrajita, who is renowned for the boons he has received from Brahma. That archer yonder like unto the Vindhya, Asta, and our Mahendra mountains, standing in his car, a mighty warrior who wields a bow of unequaled size, is called Atikaya on account of his immense stature. A tawny-eyed warrior resembling the dawn, riding a wild elephant with its bells jangling, who is shouting aloud, is Mahodara, the rider of the brilliantly caparisoned steed, he who is armed with a gleaming javelin and resembles a mass of evening clouds, with fury rivals the lightning and possesses the velocity of a well-directed thunderbolt, who is seated on the foremost of bulls and shines like the moon, is Trishira's other resembling a thunder cloud of large and well developed chest, who is twanging his bow and has the king of the snakes as his standard, is Kumbha, the one who carries a mace decorated with gold and diamonds, from which flames and smoke issue, who advances as a standard bearer to the Titan army, is Nikumba of prodigious exploits. That warrior in a chariot adorned with flags gleaming like a glowing brazier, who is furnished with bows, swords, and arrows, is Narantaka, who in combat fights with mountain peaks. Finally, the one who appears surrounded by spectres of dreadful form, with heads of tigers, buffalo, mighty elephants, deer, and horses, riding under a white canopy with a slender handle, his diadem resembling the moon, he who is the humbler of the gods themselves, like unto Rudra amid the Bhutas, is the mighty lord of the Titans himself. His countenance is graced by swinging earrings. His formidable stature recalls the Vindhya, the lord of the mountains, he who brought Mahendra and Vaivaswat low. He is the king of the Titans, equal to the sun in splendor. Then Rama, the subduer of his enemies, answered Vibhishana and said, Oh, what a glory! What exceeding majesty is Ravana's, the lord of the Titans! As one cannot gaze on the sun, neither can the eye rest on him. Such is the blinding strength of his magnificence. Neither Devas, Danavas, nor heroes possesses a body equal to his. Who can rival the brilliance of the king of the Titans? All are as high as hills, all have crags as their weapons, all are furnished with fiery darts. The Lord of the Titans stand out among those ardent warriors as Antaka amid the impetuous Bhutas of strange form. It is to his destruction that wretch comes today within my sight. Today I shall slay my wrath born of Sita's objection. At these words, the valiant Rama, who was accompanied by Lakshmana, took up his bow and standing erect, placed an arrow, the most powerful of all, upon it. Meanwhile, the haughty monarch of the Titans said to his brave troops, Take up your positions unfalteringly, the gates and principal exits, outposts and fortifications. Learning of my presence among you, these savages will try and profit by this opportunity to take this heretofore impregnable city by surprise. It being now denuded of its defenders, and they will then immediately put it to the sword with their united forces. Thereafter, Ravana dismissed his escort, and the Titans left on his orders. Thereupon he plunged into the sea of monkeys, agitating it as a great fish the waters of the ocean. As soon as that Indra of the Titans with his bow and burnished arrows had thrown himself into the fray, the leader of the monkeys rushed out to meet him, tearing up a great mountain peak, seizing that rock covered with innumerable trees. He hurled it at the prowler of the night, who, seeing it flying towards him, broke it in pieces with his golden stemmed arrows. That huge and high peak covered with trees being shattered fell on the earth, and the Lord of the Titans, like unto another Antaka, selected a dart resembling a great serpent, taking up that row which rivaled Anila in velocity and possessed the brilliance of fire and the force of lightning. He loosed it with fury on Sugriva in order to slay him, and that weapon equal to Shakra's thunderbolt loosed by Ravana's arm, penetrated Sugriva's breast in its flight as formerly Guha's spear when he discharged it at the Krauncha mountain. Wounded by that missile which bereft him of consciousness, that warrior Sugriva fell moaning to the earth. Beholding him stretched on the ground, deprived of his senses, the Yatodhanas raised a shout of triumph. Thereupon Gavaksha, Gavaya, Sushena, as well as Rishabha, Jyotirmukha, and Nala of exceeding corpulence, peering up rocks, hurled themselves on the king of Titans. Then the lord of the Titans, with hundreds of arrows possessed of sharp points, rendered their projectiles fruitless and pierced their leaders of the monkeys with a hail of marvelous golden shafted arrows. Under the blows with which the enemy of the gods assailed them, those generals of terrifying stature were overcome, whereupon he covered that formidable army of monkeys with a shower of arrows. Assailed and wounded, those warriors emitted cries of terror and pain, and those deer of the branches whom Ravana was destroying with his darts, fled for refuge to the intrepid Rama, whereupon that mighty and skilful archer Raghava, seizing a weapon, set out at once. Lakshmana, however, approaching him with joined palms, addressed him in moving tones and said, "Truly, O noble brother, I am able to slay this wretch. It is I who will destroy him. Do yourself give me leave, O Lord." Then the exceedingly powerful Rama, a true hero, answered him, saying, "Go, O Lakshmana, and in this duel may your valor prevail. Without doubt, Ravana is endowed with great strength. He is a warrior of outstanding prowess. The three worlds themselves could not withstand his fury. Seek out his weak points and guard against your own. Be ever vigilant and defend yourself with eye and bow." Thus spoke Raghava, and Saumitri embraced him. Thereafter, offering obeisance to him and bidding him farewell, he entered the lists. There he beheld Ravana with arms as large as the trunks of elephants, who was brandishing his dread and fiery bow, covering the monkeys whose limbs he had severed with a close rain of darts. Beholding this, the exceedingly energetic Hanuman, born of Maruta, in order to bring the rain of arrows to an end, rushed on Ravana and approaching his chariot, lifted his right arm and threatened him. Thereafter, the sagacious Hanuman addressed him, saying, "You have obtained the boon of invulnerability to Devas, Danavas, Gandharvas, Yakshas, and also Rakshasas, but the monkeys are a danger to you. This five-branched hand of mine, which I now raise, will rob you of your life that has long been resident in your body." At these words of Hanuman, the exceedingly valiant Ravana, his eyes inflamed with anger, answered, "Strike swiftly, without fear. Win eternal renown. Having measured your strength with mine, I shall destroy you." Then the son of the wind, Hanuman, answered Ravana, who spoke thus, saying, "Recollect that I have slain your son Aksha already." At this, the powerful lord of the Titans struck the son of Anila, Hanuman, a violent blow with the palm of his hand, and the monkey reeled Thereafter, the mighty and illustrious Hanuman recovered his balance and, steadying himself, struck that enemy of the immortals in fury. Under the violent impact of the monkey's blow, Dashagriva shook like a mountain when the earth trembles. Seeing Ravana stuck in the fight, rishis, siddhas, and monkeys raised a great shout, as also the devas, suras, and asuras. Then the extremely spirited Ravana, having regained his breath, said, well done, O monkey, you are an adversary worthy of praise. Thus did he speak. The Maruti answered him, saying, cursed be that strength, since you do still survive, O Ravana. Now come, enter into a decisive struggle with me. O perverse wretch, why this boasting? My fist is about to dispatch you to the abode of Yama. Hearing Hanuman's words, the powerful Ravana, enraged, his eyes red with fury, whirling his fist with force, brought it down violently on the monkey's chest, and under the shock, Hanuman reeled once more, while the king of the Titans, Dashagriva, that exceedingly fiery warrior, seeing his valiant opponent bereft of strength, turned his chariot towards Nila. With his arrows like unto great serpents, he pierced the vital parts of his enemy, overwhelming the monkey general. But Nila, the leader of the monkey army, assailed by that hail of weapons, with one hand flung a great rock at the king of the Titans. Meanwhile, Hanuman, burning with courage, having recovered his senses in his mortal ire, cried out furiously, O Ravana! King of the Titans, who are engaged in combat with Nila, to attack one already fighting with another is unjust, because earlier he was fighting with Hanuman and suddenly he turned his attention towards Nila. So Hanuman is terming this to be a kind of escapism. The Titan, however, shattered the crag hurled by Nila with seven pointed darts so that it fell in pieces. And seeing the rock riven asunder, the leader of the monkey army, Nila, destroyer of hostile forces, who resembled the fire of time, glowed with fury and began to hurl Ashwakarna, Sala, Kuta, and other flowering trees of varying fragrance in the fight. Whereupon Ravana caught them in his arms and snapped them, showering a formidable rain of shafts as from a cloud on Pavaki, but that because he is the Nila is the son of Pavaka, the fire god. But that Colossus, assuming a diminutive form, leaped onto the point of Ravana's standard. Here, standard means the flagpole on the top of the Ravana's chariot. Beholding the offspring of Pavaki means the son of fire god. Thus installed on the point of his flagpole, the king blazed with fury, while Nila let forth a shout, and sometimes the monkey leaped onto the apex of the banner, and sometimes onto the end of the bow, and sometimes onto the peak of the diadem, so that Lakshmana, Hanuman, and Rama also were astonished. The intrepid Titan, too, was amazed at the monkey's agility and took up a marvelous and flaming arrow. But the Plavangamas shouted joyously at Nila's tactics, being amused to see Ravana's disconcerted by his leaping about in combat, and the shouts of the monkeys infuriated Dashagriva, who in his confusion did not know how to act. Taking up an arrow charged with sacred formulas, the prowler of the night aimed at Nila, who had climbed to the tip of his flagpole, and at that instant the king of the Titans said, O monkey, your agility proceeds from a rare power of magic. Do yourself save do you yourself save yourself if you can by these innumerable tricks with which you are familiar and constantly employing them. This mantra propelled weapon of mine that I am about to lose will sever the existence of you seeking to retain. Speaking thus, the long armed Ravana lord of the Titans, having placed Agni's shaft on his bow, struck Nila, general of the monkey army, with that weapon, and he, pierced through the breast by that shaft, charged with sacred mantras, was suddenly overcome and fell to the earth. Yet by virtue of his father's powerful aid, because Nila himself is the son of the fire god, and Ravana has thrown the weapon of the fire god at him, and his own native vigor, though brought to his knees, he has not, that is, Nila has not deprived of life. Beholding the monkey unconscious, Dashagriva insatiable in combat in his chariot, whose rattling resounded like thunder clouds, rushed on Lakshmana and coming to the center of the field, halted and standing there in his glory. Thereafter the majestic lord of the Titans lifted up his bow, whereupon Saumitri of indomitable courage said to him as he prepared to loose his powerful shaft, O king of the night rangers, now enter into combat with me. Cease from fighting with the monkeys. Hearing that marvelously modulated voice that resounded like a twanging of bowstring, the king, drawing near to his adversary, who stood close to his chariot, answered in anger, O son of Raghu, it is my good fortune that brings you within my range today. You who in your folly advances to meet your death, this very instant you shall descend to the region of Mrityu under a rain of missiles loosed by me. Then Saumitri, unmoved, spoke to the boastful Titan of sharp and protruding teeth, saying, O king, stout hearts eschew bragging. O greatest of evildoers, you are sounding your own praises. I am well acquainted with your strength, prowess, vigor, and audacity. O king of the Titans, approach. Here I stand with bow and arrow in my hand. And what use are your horse, your bow? Thus cursed that Lord of the Titans, infuriated, let fly seven marvelously plumed arrows, which Lakshmana shattered with his golden shafted darts, observing his shafts resembling great serpents whose coils had been crushed in an instant. The Lord of the Lanka was transported with anger and let fly further sharp arrows. The younger brother of Rama, however, caused a well aimed rain of missiles from his bow to fall on Ravana, but he, with the aid of weapons in the form of knives, crescents, and long eared arrowheads, severed them without allowing them to disturb him. Seeing that the succession of his shafts proved useless, the king of those hostile to gods, astonished at Lakshmana's skill, let fly more whetted shafts upon him anew, and from his side Lakshmana, the equal of Mahendra, placing some sharpened darts on his bow that were formidable, swift as lightning, and of blazing effulgence, loosed them on the Titan king in order to strike him down. Whereupon Ravana shattered those pointed darts and struck his rival in the forehead with a shaft as bright as the fire of time, which had been bestowed on him by Swayambhu. Then Lakshmana, struck by that missile, reeled a little, scarcely able to retain his bow, but coming to himself with difficulty, he shattered that weapon belonging to Indra's enemy. Having broken his bow, the son of Dasharatha struck him with three pointed darts, and the king, pierced by those arrows, swooned, regaining his senses with difficulty. Wounded by those shafts, his bow wholly demolished, his limbs spattered with flesh and streaming with blood, the enemy of the gods himself of formidable energy seized a spear which had been given him in war by Swayambhu. That smoking lance as bright as fire, the terror of the monkeys in the fray, the powerful guardian of the Titan Empire, was hurled on Saumitri, younger brother of Bharata, who received that spear falling upon him with arrows and darts as if it were a sacrificial fire. Nevertheless, that weapon entered his broad chest. The powerful Raghu, struck by that spear, lay on the earth, breathing fire, and the king of the Titans, rushing on him suddenly, while he was yet insensible, seized him brutally in his two hands. Yet, though he was able to lift up Himavat, Mandara, Meru in the three worlds with the gods, he could not raise the younger brother of Bharata for Lakshmana, though wounded in the breast by Brahma's weapon, recollected that he was of the substance of Vishnu himself, and that thorn in the side of the gods, though overcoming Saumitri, was unable to bear him away. At that instant, the son of Vayu, enraged, threw himself in anger on Ravana like a flash of lightning and struck him with his fist on the chest. Under that blow, the lord of the Titans was brought to his knees and stumbling fell. From his 10 mouths, eyes, and ears, blood streamed in torrents, and rolling unconscious, he slid under the body of the chariot, where he remained deprived of his senses, stupefied, not knowing where he was. Beholding Ravana, despite his redoubtable strength, swoon on the battlefield, rishis and monkeys began to shout in triumph, as did also the gods and asuras, while the courageous Hanuman, lifting up Lakshmana in his arms, who had been wounded by his adversary, returned to Raghava. In his friendship and extreme devotion to him, the son of Vayu found Lakshmana, whom enemies were unable to move, as light as a feather. Of thereafter, the spear that had overcome Saumitri returned to the Titan's chariot. At least by this time, Ravana should have realized that there is something that is special with Rama and Lakshmana, because Lakshmana, whom he could not even able to shake, Hanuman could able to lift him very easily and take him away. And if that is the case, he should have realized that they are not ordinary mortals. Unfortunately, Ravana never realizes that. Meanwhile, Ravana, who was full of energy in combat, having recovered consciousness, selected some steel pointed arrows and armed himself with an enormous bow. On his side, healed and freed from that lance, Lakshmana recollected that he was part of Vishnu, and Rama, seeing the innumerable army of powerful monkeys overthrown on the battlefield, rushed on Ravana. Hanuman, following him, said, "Climb on my shoulder in order to overcome the Titan." Because the Titan Ravana was sitting on the chariot while Rama was walking on the floor. That is why Hanuman held him over his shoulders so that he can easily slay Ravana. Hearing those words from the son of Vayu, Raghava climbed on the shoulders of the great monkey as Vishnu on Garuda in order to fight with the enemy of the gods. Standing in his chariot, Ravana appeared before that Lord of men, and seeing him, that mighty hero rushed upon him like unto Vishnu with his mace upraised, rushing furiously on Virochana. Thereupon Rama drew the cord of his bow, and like unto the roll of thunder, said in a deep voice to the Lord of the Titans, "Stay, stay, you have evoked my displeasure. Where, O tiger, the tiger among the Titans, will you flee? Where will you flee to escape from me? Even if you seek refuge in the region of Indra or Vaivaswata or Bhaskara or Swayambhu, Vaishwanara, Shankara, or in the 10 regions, even in those abodes you shall not elude me from now on. The one who struck by the spear fell swooning this day only to recover consciousness immediately, shall now, assuming the form of death, claim you, your sons, and grandsons in battle. O king of the Titan people, here is he who under whose blows 14,000 Titans of terrible form perished in Janasthana, who had established themselves in Janasthana and were furnished with excellent weapons. Hearing Raghava speak thus, the exceedingly powerful lord of the Titans, full of rage, hurled himself on the son of Vayu, who was bearing Rama with extreme velocity, though the fray, and recollecting his former hostility, he smote him with flaming arrows resembling the tongues of the fire of dissolution. Struck by the Titan, as also pierced by his darts, the native strength of which Hanuman was possessed increased still further. Nevertheless, the extremely illustrious Rama, seeing the wound that Ravana had just inflicted on that lion among the Plavagas, was transported with anger, and approaching his chariot with his slender and pointed shafts, shattered it with its wheels, horses, banner, canopy, great standard, charioteer, darts, spears, and swords. Thereafter, with great force, he hurled a weapon like unto a thunderbolt falling on Mount Meru, so that valiant monarch, whom neither thunder nor lightning could cause to tremble, stumbled, letting fall his bow at the violent impact of Ravana's missile, which created a deep wound. Seeing him swooning, the magnanimous Rama took up a flaming arrow shaped like a crescent moon and used it to shatter the crown of the supreme lord of the Titans, which was as bright as the sun. Then Rama said to that Indra of the Titans, whose splendor was dimmed and setting of his diadem riven, and who resembled a venomous snake, robbed of his poison, or the sun its rays extinguished, bereft of luster, you have accomplished a great feat, and my brave soldiers have succumbed beneath your blows. Now you are weary. In this condition, I shall not put you under Mrityu's power with my shafts. Leave the fray and return to Lanka. I grant you this reprieve, O king of the rangers of the night. Having regained your breath, return in your chariot with your bow, and standing on your car, you shall once more bear testimony to my prowess. At these words, his joy and boasting subdued, his bow shattered, his horses and charioteers slain, pierced with arrows, his great diadem broken, the king instantly returned to Lanka. After the departure of that powerful Indra of night ride rangers, Lakshmana drew out the arrows from the monkeys which they had received while fighting in the forefront of that vast battlefield, and the adversary of the king of the gods, gods being vanquished, all the celestials, asuras, and creatures of the ocean and other regions, with the great serpents, as also all beings on the earth and in the waters rejoiced. Thus come to the end chapter 59 of Yuddha Kanda in Ramayana. Namaste Sharada Devi Kashmira Puravasini Twamaham Prarthaye Nityam Vidya Danancha Dehime. Goodbye.